Good morning, Marcy. Who knew Katy Perry appearing with Justin Trudeau wasn't the biggest story out of Davos yesterday?
Right. And aren't we glad it wasn't given the state of what's going on? What stood out to you from Mark Carney's speech yesterday?
Well, I first note the comfort with which Mark Carney spoke. He is very familiar with the World Economic Forum, or WEF as we call it. I think that is the 30 plus times that he has attended. So this is his people, and that comfort came through. But the content fascinated me more. Often, political leaders give Davos speeches to attract investments, lay out the economic policy, maybe announce a new tax measure. It's meant to be boring to a layperson. Instead, the Prime Minister delivered a eulogy to the old world, laying out not only his vision of Canadian foreign policy in the New World Order, but how other powers like Canada must act. I honestly haven't seen anything like it, and it's rare for a speech at Davos to receive a standing ovation. It's clear that Canada is now treating the US more like an adversary.
I thought it was interesting when he called this moment a rupture, his language. He also talked about not mourning the old systems, like not sort of waiting, like we'll go back to some other kind of normal, and how Canada's trying to position to move forward. He talked about Canada, quote, rapidly diversifying abroad. How far is that going to go to protecting us against those who are using economic integration as quote, weapons?
Well, Canada was able to make up 11 out of $18.5 billion lost in US trade by trading with other partners last year. But getting the rest requires recreating massively complicated supply chains that have existed between the two countries in resources and in manufacturing. The type of supply chain that manufactures entire cars will not be recreated by signing a document across the ocean, even though that does provide relief, let's say, for canola farmers with the new trade deal that is signed in with China. It turns out factories do take a long time to plan and build. So I do think when the PM said middle countries need to stick together, I think it's much more about ensuring alignment when it comes to negotiations with superpowers.
Um, what is going to be key for Canada and the rest of the world, including Europe, when it comes to dealing with the United States now, do you think?
Well, there are two events that I'll be looking to. The first is CUSMA negotiations. The US has already signaled that they would prefer bilateral agreements, one with Canada and one with Mexico. The Prime Minister is signaling that if Mexico and Canada is to get a fair deal, the two countries have to negotiate together as opposed to separately. The second set of events surround global tariff, especially as it concerns our European allies and Greenland. Carney is rejecting approaches taken by a few countries to independently negotiate the US to lower tariff that face them, that the only true path for middle powers is to ensure sovereignty. To ensure sovereignty is to stand together and reject and negotiate these tariffs together. And we've recently seen that with the about face the US has done when it comes to Greenland and imposition of additional tariff. Otherwise, it was a fairly risky and aggressive speech that Carney made, and brilliantly so. I'm sure he's also looking for other world leaders' reaction as well.
There was some sensibility of, when how Trump's going to react today. Everybody was going to be leaning to watch, whether or not there is a reaction to anything that was said yesterday. Of obviously Canadians highly interested in that, but also that what would he have to lose either way if he spoke the truth or if he didn't. And obviously his whole speech was about the risk of not speaking out in this time. I want to ask about AI. He did actually talk about Canadian investment in AI. There's tech leaders in attendance in Davos, heads of AI companies. What's their main agenda there? What are they listening for?
You're right, Marcy. All of the hyperscalers are in Davos at the moment, from OpenAI to Anthropics, and they're looking for investment and political support to realize their lofty ambitions when it comes to building out these massive data centers and getting the world to buy in on AI adoption without too much regulation. But in addition to Mark Carney highlighting AI investment in Canada, he also urged middle countries to work together so we're not forced to choose between hegemons and hyperscalers. Those are his words when it comes to AI. That central tension, alongside tension between AI companies with labor leaders and AI critics who are also there over things like sovereignty, governance, technology, and the economy, will be keeping me up. I know Mark Carney met with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, but it seems like that was the only meeting he had with these AI leaders.
We'll leave it there this morning, Viet. We really appreciate your time. We'll all be leaning in to watch what Donald Trump has to say.
Thank you.
That's Viet Vu, Manager of Economic Research at the Davos, Toronto Metropolitan University at that location. I watched this whole speech from the Prime Minister yesterday. It really was one of those moments in our world history. If you have not, you can find links and more analysis at cbc.ca.